Okay, I made this horrible, awful statement a little while ago, which is about as politically incorrect as it gets, but in my view, entirely realistic. Provocatively, I called it the common man guilty as charged. I'll give it to you now pretty briefly how it rolls. The common man guilty is charged. 1. Refusal to intelligently discuss the need for direct population stability. 2. The refusal to discuss the possible need for eugenics, yeah, I said it, to fight dysgenics. 3. The refusal to discuss the impact of avoidable infantile trauma and early childhood deprivation and child abuse, and the refusal to confront the reality of its pervasiveness and chronic far-reaching impact. 4. The refusal to discuss unnecessary meat consumption over vegetarianism in spite of vast environmental impact and the impact on higher animals. Note, I say the refusal to discuss it. I'm not actually saying a goody baddie sort of position on any of these things. Right. 5. The refusal to confront the threat of gross overconsumption in response to growing technological advancements. 6. The refusal to discuss the common long-term threats to humanity, such as the threat of terrorism in a technologically advanced age, and the possible need for a form of global governance as a defense. 7. The last one. The refusal to discuss the weaknesses within democracy, including the ability and willingness of the common man to make informed decisions and decisions detached from simple self-interest. All those things are very, very real and exceedingly serious concerns. They are issues that have to be dealt with. Now, let's go back to like the worst one, the most politically incorrect one, which is 2, the refusal to discuss the possible need for eugenics to fight dysgenics. Now, in our culture, we have demonized anyone who even wants to discuss the issue of eugenics, which is simply ridiculous. There really is only one question that revolves around this, and the question is it true that if we allow anyone to have as many kids as they want without any real direct controls whatsoever, if we basically, to put it clinically, allow specimens to breed indiscriminately, successfully, and support them to do that, then will we have a dysgenic effect? Will we have the progressive erosion of the biological health of the breeding pool? And the reason why that's an important question is because what we see in nature everywhere is constant pruning, where the weaker ones, and what is weak or strong is, of course, environmentally relative to a large degree. The weaker ones die off and the stronger ones carry on. And it appears that that is what's required to maintain the biological health of any given breeding pool. Is that wrong? I hope so. It makes politics far more simple if we can just throw it out and say, hey, huge interbreeding in cosmopolitan areas and all that sort of thing will nullify that concern for another 1,000 years, maybe. That's great. We don't have to talk about it anymore. But this is the point. It should be talked about. It needs to be discussed going forward. And if we don't even talk about it, if we reduce it to an absurd oversimplicity like, you're just evil because you're a eugenicist to believe in eugenics rather than putting the issue on the table, then we are walking away from our responsibilities as leaders of this earth, so to speak. The same applies for all the other contentious issues that people don't want to talk about. Now, our refusal to discuss things that are real and are important, whether we like it or not, is exactly what legitimizes an oppressive, controlling elite that is more in the business of public management and manipulation than public representation. So if we really want to bitch at a developing elite that wants to control us and say, piss off, mate, this is our world, we'll run it how we think is fit, then we have to basically be prepared to embrace those concerns in a strictly objective, realistic manner and accept employing policy when and as required to deal with them. And we also have to think on a global scale because there are no islands on this planet anymore. That is something that I've said for a long time and brought attention to for a long time. because it is being ignored. It's what I've just listed is amongst the most important conversations that we can have right now. And again, we are ignoring them. So if we really want to fight back against an oppressive elite, then we have to demoralize them. We have to show them that it's not their place to control us, because we can and will control ourselves and manage ourselves. But until we do that, we lose our own moral authority to basically throw these people overboard and run the show ourselves. To put it in a nutshell, if we're not prepared to manage ourselves, we legitimize a controlling elite to manage us for us. And what I'm also trying to show you is how these people think. Okay, I'm not just trying to be a prat and snigger and spit at everyone. I'm trying to show you how the elites of this world actually think. They go to these questions. They say to themselves, my God, if we don't embrace these questions, these concerns for ourselves, who is? The public aren't going to. We have to be assholes. And to a degree, they might very well be right. So again, this is how they think. They are ruthless realists because they have to be ruthless realists. So if we want to be in control and we want to have a bottom-up controlled world, we've got to grow up, so to speak, and accept population stability when and as required. We need to discuss that to make sure we're not drilling ourselves into oblivion. Yes, just discuss it. And eugenics, and the big one, that other big one, almost as bad as eugenics as far as being PC is concerned, is infantile damage and early childhood trauma and deprivation. That's a huge topic that nobody likes talking about, but it's got to be talked about. I mean, our society to a massive degree is a madman factory like you wouldn't believe, because we all want to believe that every second parent is just perfect. No. They pass on their own deprivation to their children and in ways that they hardly even know about. Big conversation there. We need to have it. Okay, what else? Unnecessary meat consumption. That's not necessary for your health. You get 30 times the protein out of vegetable matter than meat for a given land area. We need to look at that. We need to ask questions on that. I'm not saying go vegetarian or anything like that, but we need to talk about that. Refusal to confront the threat of gross overconsumption. Yes, it's a tricky one, but we're moving into a technological age where easily we can have every man a mansion. Can we sustain that? Another big conversation. Let's discuss it. Right, the refusal of the common man to confront long-term threats to humanity, such as the threat of terrorism in a technologically advanced age. Yes. How hard is it nowadays for a tiny rogue state to devastate the entire world with highly accessible, creepy little technologies? That's a growing threat, and we need to really focus on that. It could very well be a before it's too late sort of a thing. You know, we're not living back in Jesus times where we just threw sticks and stones at each other anymore. Okay, the refusal to discuss the weaknesses within democracy. If people are going to vote like total bigots and completely self-centered ways, if they're going to just say, I'm going to use my vote to, like, why work? Vote for someone else's money instead, sort of thing. We need to be realistic about the quality of the voter. Do we need to put meritocratic controls into our electoral system? Discuss it, discuss it, discuss it. Don't just say democracy, one man, one vote. Yeehaw. It's not as simple as that. I wish it was as simple as that, but it's not. Okay? So there we are, the common man, guilty as charged. My claim is that if we want to get rid of an elite, we ourselves, the common man, have to step up. Thank you.